You never could tell just when, at any time, night or day, the wire should short out on PopNjay.
Welcome to Star 3 TV. I am your host, Art Reynolds. Tonight we're introducing a new animation called Glass Dawn, The Adventures of PopNjay. Glass Dawn is a story of Jay, Mac, and Jack, and their creator, Dr. Charles Soleil. They live in the city of Noxla, on a planet called Terralon. A military government called Spike Command is slowly taking control of the Terralon Republic. Jensei Spike, the leader of the military regime, plans to take over Terralon with the help of a cyborg named Captain Black. Their ultimate aim is to take control of Terralon, deplete all of its resources for themselves, and destroy the planet via nuclear war. Then they will leave and do the same thing to other planets.
All of our ships are heavily armed with nuclear weapons. We will destroy you if you do not cooperate.
Glass Dawn is the story of Jay, Mac, and Jack and their creator, Dr. Charles Soleil. In some ways, the story is kind of serious, and in other ways, it's sort of like the Three Stooges or Alvin and the Chipmunks. They're always on the run from Dr. Domain, the chief of police on planet Terralon. Terralon is being destroyed by nuclear wars, but Dr. Domain is still driven to maintain the law and order in a society that is virtually gone. Dr. Domain is a cyborg, and the end of the story, he seems to be more human than machine. After leaving their planet Terralon, they end up on Earth and save it from the same fate as their planet.
His first cyborg was named Captain Black because the government mandated that the cyborgs be covered with a protective material made of iron alloy. They wanted to use the new cyborgs for military purposes, and iron was plentiful and cheap on Terralon and was being mined by slaves only known to the government. This material was also used to make large spacecraft armed with nuclear weapons. The weapons were secret, and they used this iron alloy for the bomb's outer shell. But Dr. Soleil didn't like to use this iron alloy. This material was based on old technology and interfered with his newly designed computer circuits. Not only that, he hated the government's slavery program used to mine the mineral. After Captain Black, he used silicon materials for outer protection instead. This brought Dr. Soleil into disfavor with the government of Terralon. He didn't follow policies that he felt were counterproductive. The tension between Dr. Soleil and the administration of Terralon continued to increase. Dr. Soleil was against all the work they were asking him to do for military applications, and soon found himself being monitored very closely by his superiors. The next three cyborgs he created were named Jay, Mac, and Jack. They were made of silicon proteins and had computers that were of a new design. They didn't have hands or feet, but used a special type of fork design and used a force field to manipulate whatever they were handling. They didn't walk, but floated above the ground and had a special material that could either be repelled or attracted by gravity. This was a new invention by Dr. Soleil, and he used these materials to build his own personal spaceship, the Sonic. The Sonic had two types of propulsion: thrust from engines that burned fuel, and gravity field propulsion, which controlled the way his spacecraft responded to gravity. This system took advantage of the gravity of planets and reduced greatly the amount of fuel needed to escape a planet's gravitational field. The Sonic also had the capability of locking into other ships' navigation and power systems, and could guide the flight paths and speed of up to 3 ships at once. Jay was programmed to pilot the Sonic, Mac to run navigations, and Jack communications and maintenance. Jay was also programmed with Dr. Soleil's secrets, inventions, and other data files that weren't stored anywhere else. Jay could speak using either his own voice or the voice of Dr. Soleil. Jay, Mac, and Jack were built in the same year and did everything together. Jay was the first prototype of this new type of cyborg, and he had strange quirks because he was the first of his kind. Every so often, his circuits would pop and flash, so others would make fun of him. His enemies called him PopNjay, and PopNjay felt that he was a misfit. For one thing, he didn't have hands or feet like humanoids. He asked Dr. Selene on several occasions, "Why did you make the three of us like this?" But Dr. Selene would only answer, "Someday you will understand." Dr. Selene would often ask Jay to handle dangerous explosives or radioactive materials with his force field hands. He didn't actually touch the objects, he simply moved them by a force that was projected to surround the object. But Jay, Mac, and Jack could not feel anything they touched because they seldom actually touched anything, because they had no nerve endings in their hands or feet. Jay couldn't stand the way he was built after a while. He envied humanoids who could touch and feel what they picked up. He had so many questions about the world around him and was convinced that he would never know the answers because he couldn't actually make contact with the material universe like humanoids.
Dr. Selene has worked for the Terralon government for 25 years as the Chief of New Technology. He originally designed and built Captain Black, as well as Jay, Mac, and Jack. But Captain Black disappeared and stole the military spaceship designed by Dr. Selene. No one can find Captain Black or the missing spaceship. Jinsei Spike has led the officials of the Terralon government to believe that Dr. Selene is taking part in a rebellion. Dr. Selene has been charged with treason and is being sought by the Terralon police. The military government is named after Jinsei Spike. The letters SPIKE stand for Supreme Policies and Integrated Knowledge of Everyone. All services to everyone on the planet of Terralon are being centralized under Spike Command. Everything people do and say is highly regulated and monitored. Dr. Selene was forced to run for his life. He flew to one of the ships he built through a space-time portal to another planet in order to escape. Jay, Mac, and Jack were left behind with another ship that Dr. Selene designed and called the Sonic. Jay, Mac, and Jack were programmed to search for secret navigation codes to the space-time portal. They were also instructed to lead two other ships, one containing an archive of all of the art, history, music, and science of Terralon to the planet where Dr. Selene is hiding. They eventually end up on Earth and save Earth from suffering the same fate as Terralon, destruction by nuclear war.
You must surrender! PopNjay, Jack, and Mac, you are all under arrest! Sergeant Shima, get ready to board the Sonic with me and take PopNjay, Mac, and Jack into custody!
PopNjay, Mac, and Jack all have disabilities resulting from the way they were created by Dr. Selene, and they express their dismay to Dr. Selene, who reassures them that there are purposes for the way they were made. Their disabilities end up being great assets in the end and help save the Earth from nuclear war.
Wreckage in the desert held vital information on how to survive an enemy attack. With Geiger counters to check the radiation, experts assessed the damage. An aluminum building was left a gaping wreck. Concrete or cinder block houses weathered the blast best. This one was less than a mile away. Survival Town's electric wires had become a twisted, tangled mass. Demonstrating the importance of civil defense preparedness, the elaborate exercises proved survival is possible, offering new hope to all who live in the shadow of the atomic age.
Dr. Selene is forced to run for his life. He flies a ship through a space time portal to his safety and leaves behind the navigation codes necessary for his loyal cyborgs, Jack, Mac and Jay, to escape as well. From there, they all end up on Earth, where their troubles really begin. In a surprise ending, they play a major part in saving the Earth from the same fate as their home planet of Terra.
Dr. Selene has his huge network of smart probes scattered around the galaxy, and they're collecting information in his attempt to find habitable exoplanets. The data is gathered over a period of 25 years, and the results become part of his big announcement at the end of the story. This all ties together with the conspiracy of Kevin James Benedict, the battle with military leaders, and the final scene at the end of the story. This is Art Reynolds for Star 3 TV signing off. Thank you for watching. More information is available on Glass Dawn, The Adventures of PopNjay on star3tv.com. Thanks for watching.